the spread of the virus as it might stay with us for a longer period. Belden Walyeula, KTN News.
As a way to ensure adequate preparations towards reopening of learning institutions within the context of COVID-19, the government will effective tomorrow begin a countrywide risk assessment of all learning centres to establish their safety levels, suitability and readiness to reopen. A letter from the Director General of Education, Ellis Abdi, addressed to all county directors of education, indicates that schools will be required to avail data on specific health protocols on COVID-19 in schools, as outlined by the Ministry of Health.
The government's original plan, albeit tentative, was for learning institutions to reopen in September. The plan was, however, shelved after medical and health professionals warned of an expected surge in the spread and infections of COVID-19. Now it appears the government has set in motion another plan to kickstart the journey towards a possible resumption of learning early next year. Beginning Sunday, August the 23rd through September 4th, the Ministry of Education will embark on nationwide assessment of schools' readiness for reopening within the context of COVID-19. In a letter to all county directors of education, signed by the Director General of Education, the government intends to gauge the suitability and readiness of all learning institutions to reopen by focusing on space, safety of learners, teachers and the non-teaching staff. But even before the process begins, stakeholders are raising reservations. It may not be possible for the country to implement the international safety protocols that require each classroom to accommodate a maximum of 15 to 20 pupils, social distancing of 1.5 meters, clean running water, and adequate provision and supply of personal protective equipment to all learners and teachers.
If we follow the Ministry of Health guidelines, no school will be opened in January. What I can say, and our appeal to Kenyans is just we trust in God and we open the schools. Otherwise, if we follow these guidelines, there is no school which is going to be opened.
According to the assessment checklist, data will be captured on whether institutions have made the principle of 1 meter distance between learners in classrooms, dormitories, dining halls, laboratories, kitchen, libraries, staff room, and offices. Other basic requirements schools will be assessed on are toilets, adequate tuition furniture, waste collection bins, good ventilation, sanitary disposal bins, fenced compound with manned gate, and clearly marked pathways on social distancing.
It is impractical. This is because you find a school has an enrollment of an average of 100 pupils per classroom, in one classroom. How are you going to go about it? Look at in our secondary schools. Nowadays the enrollment is 60 per classroom. So I think in that what the government could have done is to provide the schools with the money.
But even with this elaborate process, stakeholders will be keen to see the exact approach and strategy the government intends to employ. There are fears that there is a huge shortage for both time and resources